Hello, dear students. A warm greetings and welcome all of you to the online studies. My name is John Kipgan, your English teacher, and I urge all of you to see and listen carefully to this video till the end so that you understand well about the lesson. We will begin from the English textbook, first flight, and today we will study the first poetry, a poem called Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost. First of all, let's talk about the poet. Here I'm going to give you some important information about the poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost is one of the leading modern American poets. He was born in San Francisco, USA on March 26, 1874. He had to struggle very hard in his life, and his untimely death of his father compelled him to move from profession to profession. And in 1912, he along with his family moved to England. His first collections of poems, called A Boy's Will, was published in England. It was soon followed by another collection entitled North of Boston. And in 1915, he came back to US. Slowly and steadily, he gained fame or popularity as poet, and his poetry got worldwide fame for its simplicity and depth of thought and modern approach. Unfortunately, he passed away or died in 1963. Now let's look into the introduction and let's understand what exactly is the poetry. Dust of Snow. Like many poems of Robert Frost, it is very simple on its surface. There is a concrete situation. The poet is in a bad mood. He is sad or depressed. The reason why he was sad or depressed is not told to us. Meanwhile, he passes under a hemlock tree, and a crow on the tree suddenly shakes some powdery snow on him. That means the dust of snow. This suddenly lifts his mood, and his day is saved from being wasted in depression. So the poem shows how a small incident may prove to be a blessing to us. Now let's start reading the poem Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. First of all, let's focus to the first stanza. Let's try to understand what the first stanza says. And before that, let's find some important words where the poet used in the first stanza. Here he used in the first line crow. The first line, the word crow. Crow is a bird, and it symbolizes, or it indicates, or it means a bad omen. Okay, a bad omen. And in the fourth line, the poet also used a tree called hemlock tree. Hemlock tree means a poisonous plant or a tree with a small white flowers. And this hemlock tree indicates or symbolizes sadness, despair, and depression. Okay, Now let's see what exactly the first stanza says. The first stanza says that there was a hemlock tree and it is covered with snow particles or a dust of snow, and on it there was a crow sitting. The crow makes a movement. Of course, there is no, the movement of the crow is not being defined over here. How does it move? It just mentioned the crow moves. That means that is what he says. Sook down on me. The way a crow sook down on me. That means the crow makes a movement, and due to that movement, the dust particle of the snow or the dust of snow fell from the hemlock tree. So now it is very simple that the crow moves, and due to that movement the dust of snow fell from the hemlock tree. Now let's see what are the poetic devices used in the first stanza. The first poetical device used in the poetry, in the first stanza, is the rhyming scheme or the rhyme scheme. In the first line, the word crow rhymes with this third line snow, and the word me in the second line rhymed with the word tree in the fourth line. So the rhyming scheme of the first stanza is or would be A B A B A B A B. Crow snow, me tree. So it is A B A B. So now the second poetic device we could see here is enjambment. What is enjambment? Now enjambment is a sentence, a sentence running in 4 lines. In a simple way we can say that the same sentence or a sentence is continuously running next by next into 4 lines, and most importantly without any punctuation mark. You'll find, if you look at it, that the first line till the fourth line, if you see it carefully, if you look into it, you won't find any kind of punctuation mark used on it. And the first is related or linked or connected to the second, and the second to the third, and the third to the fourth. So it is a sentence, a sentence running in 4 lines without any punctuation marks. That is known as enjambment. That is the second poetic device. And the third poetic device we could find here is assonance. Assonance. A-S-S-O-N-A-N-C-E. Assonance. What is assonance now? In the simplest way you can say assonant is a vowel sound, a vowel sound repeated in closely connected word in the line. It may be the vowel sound repeated could be in the beginning of the word, or it can be in the middle, or it can be in the end. So now you would find the assonance in the second line, sook down on me. You would find here a vowel sound being repeated, a vowel sound O in the sook, in the word sook, and the vowel sound O in the word down, and the vowel sound being repeated again in the word on. Sook down on. So O sound, sook in the middle, and O sound again in the middle of the word down, and O sound in the beginning of the word on. So this type of writings or devices is known as assonance. When the vowel sound is repeated, like it can be in the starting of the word, or it can be in the middle, or it can be at the end of the word. So this is known as assonance. Now let's see this second stanza and what the second stanza says. You must not forget that the first stanza and the second stanza has a link. In fact, you won't find any punctuation marks from the beginning till end. Okay, so now what we see here is, in the second stanza is, like, has given my heart. What has given the poet's heart? What has given the poet's heart? And he says that a change of mood. He says that something has changed his mood, or the poet's mood. In the first stanza, we already said that the crow sitting on the hemlock tree makes a movement, and due to that movement, the dust of snow, the particles of snow, fell down from the hemlock tree. So now, the falling of dust or snow from the hemlock tree, resulted, or it bring to the change of mood in the poet's life. And he also says that due to the changes, he saved some part of a day I had ruined. He says that the poet says that he had ruined, or he says that he has being in sad mood or in a depression, some parts of his day. He had spent some parts of his day in a bad mood, he was in depression, and now the mood is changed. Now he is happy. How? The dust particle of snow which is falling down from the hemlock tree, changed the mood of the poet, and now he is happy. So it's a very simple poem. It's very easy to understand. In the first stanza, it's a kind of the cause and effect theory. The poet says the crow makes a movement, and the dust particles fell down from the hemlock tree, and the dust particles of snow, or the dust of snow, fell onto the poet, and all of a sudden, after after the dust of snow falling on the poet, changed the mood of the poet, and now he is happy, and now he is out of depression, he is happy from his bad mood now. So now let's see now what are the literary devices used in the second stanza. So we'll start with the rhyming scheme again. So the fifth line, heart, is rhymed or rhyming with the seventh line word part, heart part, and the sixth line, the word mood, is rhyming with the word rude in the eighth or the last line. So the rhyming scheme is C D C D. That means heart part, mood, rude. So C D is the rhyming scheme of the second stanza. So we could also see the same literary device again, the enjambment. So since the beginning of the stanza, you won't find any punctuation marks again, so it is enjambment. And the third literary device you can find here in the second stanza is the alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is a repetitions of consonant sound at the beginning of two or more consecutive of closely placed words. Now you will find what is alliteration in the beginning of the second stanza. That means the fifth line of the poem. the word has and the word heart. Here you will find there is a consonant repeated, has, heart, H. Okay, ha sound is being repeated over here, and also you could find the same poetic device in the what you call seventh line. Okay, saved some. Okay, saved some. So you'll find here S in the beginning and S in the beginning of word saved and some respectively. Sa sound being repeated in saved and some. So this is known as an alliteration. So now the fourth literary device we could find is consonance. So now what is consonance? Consonance is a literary device where consonant sound is repeated but in different places. It can be in the beginning or in the middle or at the end of the word in a line. You will find here a consonant word being repeated again in the last line of the poetry. In the last line of the poetry, they, in the last line of the poetry of a day I had read. They, D sound, okay, it's a consonant in the beginning, and D sound again in the word had, okay, it is in the end of the word, and another D sound again at the end of the word read. So this type of repetitions of a consonant in a different placed of word is known as consonants. So this is a very simple explanations of the poetry Dust of Snow, and along with the literary device used in the poetry. Now we have understood what exactly is the poem, and at the same time it is important to understand what does it mean, or what the poet mean, or what the poet wants us to understand, or what the poet wants to convey through this poetry. It was very simple about the poem, where the crow sitting on the hemlock tree and it makes a movement, a dust particle or a dust of snow falling on the poets, on the poets, and all of a sudden the mood of the poet changes from bad sadness to happiness. Okay, all his depression was gone and his days, or the remaining of his day, was saved. It was very simple. So what does all this mean, or what does the poet wants us to understand? Okay, so in this section let's talk about exactly the theme or the message that the poet wants us to convey. The poem Dust of Snow shows that even trivial things in life, even the smallest thing, or even a small things in life can make big changes in our life. Sometimes we consider small things or silly things as unimportant, has nothing to do. But we must understand, and we learn from this poetry, that these small things can change our situations for the better. Small things we do for others, whether knowingly or unknowingly, make sometimes all the difference. In the poem, as we have seen, it is the crow's act of kindness, done out of fear perhaps. Okay, the crow does not know what exactly he does and what was the outcome. So it was considered to be the act of kindness which is done out of fear or which is of unknowing, perhaps, maybe, and that changed or changes the mood of the poet. The poet receives this, like powdery snow or the snowflakes or the dust of snow as the gift of nature or the gift from the nature, and he feels happy and is grateful that someone has saved the part of his day from being wasted. Okay, and the other idea projected in the poem is that we should not lose hope and feel depressed. Why? Because instead we must take the hard times in our straight. Okay, we must think that something will happen to change our situation, which is from bad to good. So therefore we must have a spirit that is willing to change. We must have the willingness to change and appreciate small things in life. So it is a lesson to all of us that to consider the simplest, the smallest things to change our life in a better way. That is all that we can learn from this poetry, and I hope you understood something, and thank you for listening patiently, and hope you understand, and if any doubts you can clarify it as soon as possible. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.